Hello, welcome to this gentle yoga class. We are going to be working on alignment as well as opening up the front of our chest. So many of us sit and have this kind of posture, this forward posture, specifically like the head moving forward and the arms moving forward. So we're going to be working on aligning the spine, aligning the arms, keeping the shoulders down away from your ears, and then maybe even opening up the front of the body a little bit more so that we can feel expansive right here, and then we can be more in alignment with our movement, with our life, and with our practice. Welcome to class. You can begin seated in a chair or seated on the mat. If you're coming along with me and would like to join with my playlist, you can go ahead and hit the Spotify playlist now. I'm going to use a pillow because this allows me to come into better alignment by sitting on the edge and letting my knees be lower than my hips. So let's bring our awareness here to the base of the spine, letting that energy move down and into the earth. And then the energy moving up the spine and out through the top of our head. You can bring your hands, palms up on your thighs, wherever you happen to be. Removing distractions of the day. And then when you're ready, we're going to open up, letting the arms rise up over the head. And let's see if we can get our arms straight over our head and keep the tail tucked, keep engaged in the belly. So option here to stay here, option to reach over and wrap your thumb and index finger around your left arm and then come into a little C curve. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing one shoulder forward and I'm arching my spine and I'm just like looking down a little bit. Breathe here. Then coming back up straight, reaching other hands, turning, and then coming into little forward fold here, little bend. Just feeling that C curve in the spine and the lengthening of the side body. And then bring it back to center. And then we're going to take our arms down nice and long. Now we're going to take one arm over to the opposite thigh and then look behind us. And then take a deep breath in, coming back through center and come to the other side, look behind. And you could stay with this, coming back, or you could bring your hand back and down and lift the arm up by the ear. So it's a swooping motion. Inhale up and exhale. Lifting the chest. Just warming up our body. And bring it back to center. Taking a deep breath in, we're going to bring our hands together over our head, and then we're going to bring it down. Breath up. Alignment. Last one. Okay, we're going to find our way onto all fours. You can pad your knees if you need to. You can move your pillow off the side and then see if it feels okay to sit back and onto your heels. Now, if this feels too intense in your knees, you could always bring yourself up into a kneeling position. Otherwise, we're going to sit here and we're going to bring our thumbs together and our pinky fingers together. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up and then thumb to index finger, draw the elbows down. Now it's really easy to put a big arch in your low back here. So practice engaging the core. Now you could stay right here. You could, as you lift your arms, come up. If you're up here, you could stay right where you are, or you could come up and down with the hands. Last one, wherever you are. We're going to walk our hands out and come onto our bellies, and we're going to interlace our fingers and bring our forehead down to the mat, and then interlace your fingers, and your index fingers are going to point forward. So it's like you're aligning like the needle of a compass. What is important to you? Okay, let's bring our elbows underneath our shoulders. Coming into Sphinx pose, just checking into our low back. You could take your feet or your legs wider and just see how that affects maybe makes it a little bit more intense. And then elbows underneath the shoulders, and then pull yourself forward and make sure that you keep your shoulders away from your ears. So we don't want to be down like this. We want our alignment here between our elbow and our shoulder, and we want our neck long and relaxed. So gazing out. From here, we're going to bring ourselves back down. We're going to bring our hands underneath our shoulders and press back. Knees could be wide, and you could come into your child's pose. And then maybe bring your hands above your head. Interlace the fingers, index finger up. Breathe. See if you can get nice and wide in the low back. Child's pose. Take a deep breath in, bring your hands back down, and then come on to all fours. We're going to practice balancing. We're going to take the right foot forward, and we're going to keep the alignment here between the hip and the knee. So I'm just like up on my knee, right? I'm kneeling, checking it out. You could always keep your hands on your hips, or you could bring your hands back behind. You could place them on your low back and draw your elbows back. Interlace the fingers is an option, and then squeezing the chest and finding your look up. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let's release the hands. Bring your hands back down and shift so that the other foot comes forward. Again, aligning hips, knees 90 degrees. Maybe bring your hands to your hip. Gaze is out, chin is parallel to the floor. Feeling nice and strong. Reaching the crown of the head up. Maybe hands can come back. Maybe interlace. Maybe gaze up a little bit. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Release the hands. Bring your hands back down. We're going to walk the hands out beyond the shoulders. So you notice that I'm kind of in a kneeling plank here. And then just hold it here. Spread your fingers. Engage your core. Feel the firing up of your belly. Option to curl your back toes, lift your knees, and come into plank position. Notice my alignment here. My hips and my shoulders are in alignment. We don't want to drop the hip down or stick your butt up. You want to see if you can get nice and flat, nice and straight. Breathe. Always option to drop the knees and come into kneeling plank. Okay, let's bring the knees back down. We're going to come and walk our hands back, come onto the balls of the feet. See if we can balance here, how this feels. And then we're going to press to rise. Stepping our feet to the front of the mat. Coming into our mountain pose, feeling nice and strong. Breathe. Shoulders down. Lengthen the crown of the head up. We're going to step one leg back, maybe the left leg. So shifting your body weight, we're going to step it back into warrior two. So I have my front knee. We don't want it to let it fall in. We want it to line up with the outside of the pinky toe side of the foot. And we want to line up heel to the instep. Warrior two. Arms can come out. Breathe. Feel into the strength, the alignment of the shoulders. Palm up, front hand. Reach the back hand down. Exalted warrior right here. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back to warrior two. We're going to pick up this back foot and we're going to turn to the front and shift, bringing your foot in a little bit. So this here is setting up for pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana, which is our pose of the day, Parsvottanasana. So we're only going to come halfway down. So what I want you to do is straighten that front leg if it's okay. We're going to come forward, maybe at a 45-degree angle, and then just hold it here, putting a little bend in that front knee if you need to. We don't want to feel hypermobility in the back of the thigh. Can you feel the line from the tail to the crown of the head? Breathe. Take a deep breath in, bring it back up. We're going to step that back leg forward and shift to the other side. Other leg gets to step back into warrior two. Lining up your arms, your legs, your eyes in alignment with the tips of your front fingers. Notice that my shoulders are right over my hips. We don't want to lean forward here. Right? My knee can be right over my ankle, but not in front. Palm up, reach hand back. Up and back. Alignment to the stars. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let's come back into our warrior two. Pull your low belly in. We're going to pick up that back foot, turn it, step it halfway. Parsvottanasana, our pose of the day. Slowly come forward. Maybe it's just at a 45-degree angle, but we want to line up with our tail and the top of our head. Nice straight line. Hands can be on the hips. You could bend into that front knee a little bit. You could feel the hamstring on that back or that front leg. Take a deep breath in. Let's come back up. Stepping the feet forward. Take a deep breath in. We're going to forward fold. So you could come over with a straight back, bending the knees, letting your body hang. Now, if you want to try, if this feels okay to your legs, having them somewhat straight, walk your hands over to the left and then bend into the left leg, and you're going to feel like this amazing stretch on the right back leg. Nice and gentle. And then straighten that leg, walk your hands to the other side, a little off alignment here, and then bend into the right knee. Hands to the right, bend to the right knee, and feel into that stretch. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back to center. Monkey pose, hands to the shin. Reach the crown of the head out. Straight arms. Hands are flat on the shin here. And I'm reaching from the tail all the way through the crown of the head. Aligning. Take a deep breath in. Let's let it come back down. We're going to step one leg back. The other leg back, downward facing dog. Now see if you can get your arms straight and your tailbone up into the sky. If you need to bend your knees to do that, do that. But we want a straight back. Breathe here, downward facing dog. Coming forward, we're going to come down onto our knees and then scoot over and onto one side of the body and come down into seated. So extending one leg long, we're going to bring the foot into the thigh and just notice if this feels okay to the back of your knee. You can always put a pillow there or a blanket underneath there. And I'm flexing this foot, and then I'm going to rotate my body. So I'm going to align my heart to the long leg. So I'm just going to slowly walk my hands over. Now this is going to stretch out this muscle that is on your low back, which is a really good muscle to stretch because it is a source of low back pain. So quadratus lumborum here. If you could reach over with the opposite hand and grab onto your shin, your ankle, you might find a little bit more stretch in the side body. It's a gentle bow. Chest comes down to the thigh, and then you just relax your chin in towards your chest. To come up, we lengthen the spine. Right here, you could reach one arm up. You could bring the other arm back. You could lift onto this front shin and press your hips up. So it could look like this. Pressing the hips up. Opening up the front of the chest. Take a deep breath in, bring it back down. Shift to the other side. Foot into the thigh. Sitting up super tall. Chest to long leg. Coming over, I flex this long foot and I bring maybe my opposite arm over. Breathing chin to chest. Alignment. Notice if you can feel your low back on the opposite side of that long leg. Nice stretch. Take a deep breath in, bring it back up. Option, bringing the hand down and just lifting your arm. Option, coming onto this front shin. Open up the front of the chest by bringing the arm towards the back body. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back down. Bringing your knees center. We're going to take them wide. Your hands could come behind, and then just take your knees from one side to the other. Shifting side to side. Okay, now we're going to check into a little bit of mobility here. So bring one leg in and then let the other one sit out. So my one leg is drawn in, my other leg planted. And then I'm going to pick up my foot and I'm just going to move it across. I'm not really using my weight, or I'm not really using my weight, my arm to lift the weight of my leg. I'm just like allowing it to move with, right? Kind of guiding it. And then we're going to check to see whether or not we can wrap this leg that's moving around. So this is a really challenging pose to come into. Horse head or horse face. So if you can, the goal here is eventually to stack the knees and then sit up nice and straight. If you're right here, that is perfectly fine. The goal here is to sit up straight wherever you are. So sitting up nice and straight. See if you can lengthen the crown of your head up. And then you might feel into this stretch of this top leg as it spirals around. It's this opening of the hip back here that we're looking for. So you might notice that sensation there. Okay, let's unwind our legs. We're going to take the other leg in and then lifting or guiding the foot across a couple of times. Seeing if you can wrap the legs, maybe stack the knees, maybe not. Maybe you're just like maybe halfway stacked. This also depends upon the shape of your pelvis. So this is a lot more challenging for guys or people with narrow pelvis than it is for people with a wider pelvis. So wherever you are, seeing if you can sit up nice and tall, reaching the crown of your head up, breathe, aligning. Notice how much easier it is to breathe when you sit up nice and straight. Okay, take your legs apart. We're going to ease onto our back body. Taking the feet so that they're up towards the sky. The feet are flexed. So you don't want to just let your feet hang out. You actually want to pull the toes towards your shin. And then if your knees are, if your legs are way far apart, are way close together, see if you can take them apart and then bend. So like you're drawing your thighs in towards your upper body, and then maybe grab onto your ankles, your shins, or the bottoms of your foot. So this is happy baby, dying beetle option. This feels really good to go from one side to the other. And just notice this alignment is a version of squat. Okay, let's release the feet and bring them down. We're going to set up for bridge pose, which is an opening of the hips. So we're going to make sure that our feet are parallel and that our thighs aren't going to wing out. So we want to actually bring some tension into the inner thigh muscles. So walking the feet maybe a little bit closer in, feet are parallel. Hands come down, sides of the body, press the low belly down, and then lift the pelvis up. You could squeeze the shoulder blades a little bit and draw them underneath you. And then find this alignment here. Now, there's something that we can do that makes this a lot more difficult. So if you want to try, if you're feeling like, oh, I can do something else here, or if you just want to stay here, you can do that as well. So I'm going to shift my left foot in a little bit, and then I'm going to take my right leg up to the sky, and I'm going to point my toe. And that makes bridge pose a lot harder because you're using just one leg to press up and then switching sides. Leg comes in. Squeeze your back body, point your toe, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Pointing to the sky with your toe. Bring it back in, lift a little bit higher. And then slowly, starting at the top of your spine, coming back down. Let's take the left leg long. We're going to scoot over to the left side of the body and then draw one knee across for our reclined spinal twist. You could reach out and look the opposite direction that the knee is traveling. Breathe. And then slowly come back to center. We'll do the other side. Lengthen the leg. That shift is important. Looking in the opposite direction. It's almost like you're reaching back behind you. Take a deep breath in and bring it back to center. Okay, knees into chest. You could rock and roll a couple times up and back. Coming up. We're going to find our way all the way up and into standing. So however you want to do that. Finding your mountain pose. We're going to do a little side bend. So let's take our arms up over our head. And then just gently come to one side. You could interlace your fingers and point, or just keep the arms apart. It's a very, very short, not so deep side bend. Bring it back to center. Maybe interlace the fingers the other way. Side bend the other side. Take a deep breath in. And then let's release the hands down. And then just some gentle side to side to release the tension. Turning the head, looking behind you. Okay, stepping sideways on your mat. Turning the toes out. So we're going to make it so we can sink and rise. So no sticking your butt out. Your tailbone is tucked under. And notice that my knees are traveling over my ankles. So I'm staying safe here. And my shoulders are still aligned over my hips. So option, arms up. And then option, draw it in. And then lift up. Tailbone down, reaching up towards the sky. One more time. Now, can you turn your toes forward? So now my feet are parallel, and I'm just going to come over maybe halfway. I'm going to look down. Option is to let yourself come all the way forward as far as it's okay to you, and you could just let your arms dangle. And your head get nice and soft. Option, you could step your feet a little wider and just try this straddle splits. Maybe you could bring your elbows down to the ground. That's pretty intense, but Maybe you have the flexibility. Okay, wherever you are, happen to be, we're going to find our way back up. So I'm going to walk my feet in, turn my toes out, and tuck my tail and roll up, stacking my body weights, pelvis, chest, and head. Let's do that a couple more times. So let's come down, then tuck, and bring it back up. So you could look up, sink your hips down, and then come back up. Head is the last thing to come back into alignment. Looking up. Spinal rolls. One more time. Could be a little, doesn't have to be so big. Honoring your body. And wherever you are, we're going to walk our feet back underneath us, getting ready for tree pose. So, knee comes out to the side. You could hold on to something. You could keep your foot grounded. I'm stacking my hip right over my knee. I'm going to find something to gaze at. If you want to, you can bring your foot above your knee, and then your foot presses in, your leg presses back. Hands could come to the heart. You could spread your branches, but the shoulder blades should come down. Now engage your core and lift up. Breathe. Tree pose. If you're on a cushy pad or carpet, this is more difficult. It also depends upon whether or not your foot can grip the fabric or your skin. If it's slippery, it's very difficult to do. Okay, so bring it back down. Let's shift over to the other side. Finding that alignment. Turn, externally rotate, align that knee to the side. And then we're going to find here, actually here, or above your knee. Hands could stay at the heart, finding something to gaze at. Option to spread your branches. If you fall out of it, that's okay. Take care to come back in carefully. It's really important not to throw yourself around during yoga. Take a deep breath in. Let's bring it back down. Okay. So let's just find our way down to the mat. You could come down and come back up again. Just practicing getting up and off of the floor. If that's something you want to practice. Or you could simply come down to the floor, do little stretches, whatever it is you need to do to prepare. Being a little playful about it. And then eventually finding yourself down on the mat. It's really important not to use a pillow so that your head is in alignment with the rest of your spine. Option to keep your knees bent. You could always put a pillow under the knees. Option to take the legs out long and come into your stillness. Just thinking about how your body is aligned on the ground. You could do a little body journey where you focus on different parts of the body. Find your breath. Settle the mind. Giving yourself these few minutes to feel into how your mind, body, spirit is aligned. Relaxing your eyes. If your mind begins to wander, just gently remind yourself to come back to the present moment. And staying here for as long as you like or you are capable of. You could roll over onto one side, take a couple of deep breaths here, fetal position. You could use your hands to press up and into seated, checking in with your alignment. Bring your hands together. You can give yourself a little bow, thanking yourself for coming to the practice today, thanking each other for being here. Namaste.